Well, now we're going to take a look at one of the biggest family films, I guess you could call it, that's around at the moment. And not just a family film if you're someone like Kyle and I, who's a little bit on the geek side as well. We're talking about Transformers 1, which is kind of a prequel to everything that we've ever seen in the Transformers universe. It goes right back to the days when Optimus Prime was called Orion Pax. So it goes right back even before the original cartoon series as well. So, like I said, it kind of centers around these characters that work as kind of minor robots. And when I say that, I mean minor as in working in mines. But
miners,
you've got,
not miners.
Yeah. You've got Orion Pax, which is voiced by Chris Hemsworth, D16 voiced by Brian Tyree Henry, and B127 voiced by Keegan Michael Key. Now, their boss is Elita 1, voiced by Scarlett Johansson, and they kind of live in this world where they're being worked pretty hard, but they kind of all do it because they believe in their leader, Sentinel Prime, voiced by John Hamm, and these characters are willing to die for him. But Orion Pax has got questions. He really wants to know what happened to their planet, because they've all heard of this time when Cybertron didn't need miners because what they're trying to mine, their energy source, flowed freely. But they hear about this event that happened, and this, I won't go into a spoiler territory, but this important item that has gone missing, that Sentinel Prime is always trying to look for. Orion Pax has a lot of questions, which quite often results in his friend D16 getting into a lot of trouble. But that soon leads the curious young robot into discovering something that's going to change time forever. Now, Kyle, I know you had been waiting for a Transformers film to be set on Cybertron for a long time. What are your thoughts on Transformers 1?
Yeah, I enjoyed it way more than I kind of thought that I would. As you say, I've been, for the last several movies, I kept saying, it's like, when are they going to have a movie that's set on Cybertron? Because it's only been kind of hinted at in some of the other live-action films. There was openings here and there that kind of focused on their world. But I've been holding out for a movie that's been set on their planet, because I really wanted to see that kind of before they became the Transformers and before they turned into the Mack trucks and jump jets and all that kind of stuff. And that's pretty much exactly what this is, with the difference being that this is kind of like a cartoon animation style rather than live action. I was a little worried, though, when I saw the trailers, because it seemed to be way more comedic than I was kind of thinking that it should be.
Yeah.
But I still think like it actually worked really well. Like I was saying, I don't want to go with the crowd and just always crap on Michael Bay, but it really is a case of that I've enjoyed every Transformers film he hasn't directed. Bumblebee and Rise of the Beasts and now this one. The characters in it are actually really good. The transition of Orion Pax to Optimus Prime and D16 to Megatron, the fact that they actually started off as friends and then turned into enemies because of basically their differing opinions on how to approach the freedom of their people. I thought that was actually really well, especially Megatron's character arc, being somebody that, I mean, it's. I don't think any kid watching this movie is going to be referring to Optimus Prime as Orion Pax or Megatron's character as D16, even though they go 90% of the film going by those names. I think people are just going to call them Optimus Prime and Megatron. But
even Bumblebee.
And Bumblebee, it's the same thing. It's like, no, he's B127. No, he's Bumblebee. Yeah, I think Elita is probably the only character. I can't remember if that was a character name in the animated series. It was interesting, like, I guess, showing these characters, like, as much, like, younger versions of themselves, especially as they go through multiple transformations throughout the course of the movie, becoming stronger and stronger. The fact that there's kind of a class struggle going on between the Transformers and the lesser Autobots.
Yeah.
And yeah, just that I enjoyed it way more than I thought I would. I had a few issues with it, animation-wise and stuff, but mainly I really enjoyed it. But what did you think of it, David?
Yeah, look, I found this to be really interesting because I thought this is, like you, this is the film that we've kind of needed over the years because there's been so much stuff alluded to, like in the original animated series and then right through to the films. Like, there's always kind of been this kind of mention of there was a time when Optimus Prime and Megatron were on the same side, but no one's ever really gone in to explain that. So, and I think I'm coming from it from a bit of a different point of view as well. I actually liked the first Michael Bay Transformers film. I think it lost its way after that. Some through no fault of Michael Bay's. I think losing a central character, pulling out of it, I think that really hampered the second film because you went from this geek that's like totally in love with this girl and telling her that there's never going to be another, to then the next movie he's got a new girlfriend. But yeah, like I think this film needed to happen so that some of the things that have been alluded to in the stuff over the years was there. Like, I know they really tried to do it in, was it Transformers Last Night or whatever it was called?
Yeah.
They tried to do it a little bit in that, like, and trying to say that the Transformers have been there, like, since the Knights of the Templar and stuff like that. And I guess they kind of did it a little bit in Attack of the Beasts as well.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Rise of the Beast,
Rise of the Beast, yeah.
But yeah, I think they needed to do this movie because I think a lot of people, and this is not even one of these prequel films where it's like, we've seen this story before. This is a whole new story that we never even got in the animation. And it explains a lot about the politics of Cybertron, how Optimus Prime became Optimus Prime, how Megatron became Megatron. I'm not 100% sure that I like some of the bits at the end with Optimus Prime. Like, I kind of like the early parts of learning about his character, and then I kind of thought that the ending was a little bit like, wow, you're giving this guy a bit of a god complex now, like, kind of thing. But it worked. I think the interesting thing is going to be, where is this going to fit into the whole universe, the Transformers universe? Like, are they going to keep going now? Because you kind of get the feeling that if they keep going, they're going to be touching on the time arc of the original animated series.
Will eventually run up the ass of the live action movies.
Yeah. Whereas we know in the real life movies at the moment, they're really trying to bring in the mixture of trying to create this world where it's Transformers, G.I. Joe, and as Harley told me earlier, Mask.
Oh, yeah.
They're trying to, like, bring that all into, like, the universe. So it's like, where is this going to fit into that universe? Like, if they do keep going with this franchise, are we going to see G.I. Joes in them, or what's going to happen? Or is this going to be like the Robert Pattinson Batman and the Joker movies where they're in the same universe but separate? So
the alternate universe, and then there'll be a crossover movie where you have all the different versions of Optimus Prime.
Yeah. But I was also a little bit worried about how this was going to work with so many big stars doing the voices, because there's like some smaller roles in here as well, but they've got big people playing the roles, like Lawrence Fishburne and Steve Buscemi jump in there as well. But I actually think that worked. I thought the casting of the voices was really well done, even though for once we had a different person voicing Optimus Prime. I still thought it worked.
I thought that as far as getting like a bigger name actor to do Starscream, I thought that Steve Buscemi, because I was waiting, like, because I knew he was in it because his name's at the start, and I was waiting for the whole movie. It's like, when the hell is Steve Buscemi showing up? And it didn't even click with me. Of course he's going to voice Starscream. It's like a character that's known for having an annoying voice.
Yeah.
Of course Steve Buscemi's going to be voicing that character. I thought As you say, I think that was he was perfectly cast in that. Lawrence Fishburne as well as Alpha Trion, kind of this ancient prime or one of the ultimate Transformers. It was interesting having him talking about the Matrix again, like in the past. And I did like having different actors doing the more bigger name actors, I guess, doing the characters. The only thing that I had a problem with was especially when towards the end when Orion Pax really does become Optimus Prime. That was a case that I thought that they should have changed the voice to Peter Cullen at that point. And Peter Cullen being the 40-something years. They just had, I think, the 40th anniversary of the Transformers. And for some, like, the guy's been doing Optimus Prime all those years. He is basically that. He's Optimus Prime. Like, even in the live-action movies, they got Hugo Weaving to do the voice of Megatron, but they got Peter Cullen because everybody knows that voice and so that was the one thing that towards the end I thought I would have really liked if they had actually had him doing the voice at that point, especially because if they make a sequel and by any chance Chris Hemsworth doesn't want to come back for it, they're going to probably get Peter Cullen to do the voice anyway. They're going to probably be getting, and if they make any spin-off TV shows or anything, it's going to be Peter Cullen. So I thought that would have been a nice transition, especially because at a certain point, Chris Hemsworth is basically just trying, like at the start, it's Chris Hemsworth doing a voice, but towards the end, as you say, when he kind of gets a bit of a god complex, at that point, he really does just seem to be trying to do a Peter Cullen voice. But otherwise, like the action in it, I like the something that I had a problem with the Michael Bay Transformers films, less so the later ones. I think they kind of got their act together with the later films. Was that the way my brother put it was that during the fighting scenes, it was really like watching just a recycling plant, just mixing all this metal together, because it was just a mass of silver. And what the later live action films and this one get is the idea of color coding the different characters. So you got Optimus Prime who's red and blue, you got Megatron who's grey, you got Alita who's pink, and Bumblebee, of course, who's yellow. And I like that. You can always kind of tell in the big action scenes, all crazy stuff's happening. You can kind of tell who's who, what's going on.
Unlike Borderlands, which Harley and I talked about.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I like that in it. The only problem that I had with the real high big action sequences, which I was down for it, I really enjoyed it, but I did find, like I said, I'm not sure if this was a part of the projection or maybe just the way that it was being projected in that particular cinema. I thought that there was a bit of maybe what's the word for it? Kind of a stutteriness to the animation, and it was something that I was thinking. This is actually the kind of movie I would have loved to have seen in a high frame rate. Not Avatar, not Gemini Man. This is the kind of film that I think a high frame rate, not The Hobbit. Like this is the kind of movie that I think really would have served well for that.
I think that might have been because when we saw it, we saw it at a premiere, which was one of the first screenings in the world. So it's like when you first start up your computer.
Could be.
It's not running as fast as it should be until it's been running for a little while. So
it could be. I guess like if I end up seeing it a second time, or if like this one, I'm going to buy this one. I'll buy this one 4K, then I can have a look at it, see what it looks like in home video.
I think the other thing we need to talk about as well is Steven Spielberg and Michael Bay, who are the producers of this, have managed to pluck Josh Cooley out of Pixar to do this as well. Josh Cooley, of course, has been one of the big names at Pixar over the years. He's been involved with all of their big films in a variety of different roles, from writer. I think he created Inside Out. Yeah, he created Inside Out. He's been a writer on some of their bigger productions as well. He's also been in the art direction area and directing as well. To pull him out of Pixar, because I think I don't know what this means for him. I know at one stage Pixar people didn't go out and do projects outside of Pixar, so I don't know whether this means he's left Pixar or whether he's going to go back and do stuff for them, but it does seem like he chose to do this film rather than Inside Out too. So, but I think that was a big win for them as well.
Yeah.
Because you could easily have gone and got somebody else to have done the animation that might not have been up to like the job of directing it, but to go and get someone from arguably, and I say arguably because I think there are a couple of other companies out there better, but to go and pinch one of the number one guys from the biggest animation studio going around at the moment, I think is a pretty big thing and a bold thing to have done as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's done, like, his last big movie was Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
So he has, as I said, he's kind of been working his way up from art directing and writing. And yeah, he's kind of, he's had a quite prolific career. Like, you see the films that he's worked on. And I guess it's, like, with so many different animated films coming out, they've got to come from somewhere, I guess. And it's just interesting to see somebody move, like, basically being, like, having that story, and now it would be cool to see if this is basically his franchise.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So to finish off, what are you going to give this one out of 5 and why?
I'm going to give this 4.5 out of 5. The only things that I had a problem with was just maybe the little jaggedness in the animation. Again, that could have been the print, that could have been the hard drive that they were playing it off of, and just that one thing about Peter Cullen's voice, because again, it often when you're playing the character for 40 years, it's noticeable when you're not there anymore.
Yeah.
And so that was just the one. That was just the only issues that I had. But other than that, I really loved it. So it's 4.5 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, I'm giving it 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed this as well. I think this, like I said before, it's a Transformers film that we kind of needed to fill in those things. And for once, I think they actually got a prequel right. I know quite often these days they kind of take things that Kyle, Harley, and I watched when we were a kid, and they try to reboot it or they try to do a prequel, and it doesn't quite work. But I think this one worked really well. So Kyle is giving Transformers 1 4.5 out of 5. I'm giving it 4 out of 5. And it will be a general release, so check your local cinema guide to see where it's showing near you.